Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Simon. We're on to a love story again. She Stole My Heart, or whatever I've called it. We left it that... where did we leave it? Triple Z, the cleaner, and John had a night out, ended up in bed, up the next day, gone and got food, and I think that's sort of where we left it. Now, I asked you about age gap, 34-year age gap. What did you think? Well, as I record these videos sort of a couple at a time, I don't know what your answers are, so we'll just move on. One of the things about this new relationship is Thai. So let's talk about Thai ladies. If you, in John's position, actually sleep with a Thai lady, that sort of makes you boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't think he knew that. It's just sort of the unspoken thing. And she works for him. Anyway, through that day, she did a bit of cleaning, came back, did a bit of cleaning, then she went off home. And he just sort of was mulling about the house. And she came back in the evening. And he's like, well, what are you doing here? She said, I bought a few more clothes. I thought I'd come and stay over and we could just have a cuddle tonight. And, you know, it's lonely at my room. It's just, you know, she shares a room with other girls. She's lonely. Yeah, right. And he's like, at that point was his chance to sort of put his foot down and nip this in the bud, as to say. But he didn't. Unsure and, you know, pretty new to Thailand. He's like, okay. And she brought some Thai food with her. She'd bought on the street. She said, I brought a little bit of food. And he's like, oh, okay. And he hadn't eaten. So she dished it up onto some plates. And they sat and had some food. And she said, you haven't got a TV. I mean, his place is what, about 8 meters square? His bungalow, and it's just a basic open plan kitchen, lounge, a shower room and a bedroom. And he said, no, I just rent this place and that's all that's here. She said, oh, okay. Thai women love TV. Thai TV. Soap operas, dramas, love stories. And he's like, yeah, no, that's just what it is. She said, oh, okay. Anyway, at that point, his phone rang, and it was his friend who lives down in Hua Hin. And I don't know what his name was, I can't remember, but anyway. His friend's down there is married to a Thai, I think, or living with a Thai. And his friend just rang up, how you doing, and all the rest of it. And he's like, yeah. And his friend said, we haven't seen each other for a while. Do you fancy coming down? He said, I've got a spare bedroom. Come down for a few days to Hua Hin and let's catch up. And John's like, yeah, that would be great. He's like, okay. He said, I haven't really got anything going on in my life. Yeah, right. And, yeah, it might be a good idea. Have a few days break away from Pattaya. And his friend said, okay. He said, well, when do you reckon? He said, all you got to do is get a taxi all the way around, or bus up to Bangkok and then a bus down. Or you can get the ferry across, which is even easier. And John said, okay. He said, well, let me have a think about it and I'll ring you tomorrow. He said, okay. And then Triple Z's like, oh, who's that? And he said, that's my friend. And he explained about who he's got two friends in Thailand, one in Pattaya and one in Hua Hin. And Triple Z, oh, yeah. And he lives in Hua Hin. And she goes, oh, Hua Hin's nice. Went there years and years ago when I was much younger. Haven't been for a long time. And John's like, right. And he says, my friends invited me to go around for a few days and catch up. And he's got a partner and all the rest of it. And Triple Z said, oh, that would be really nice. The pair of us, we could go away and have a bit of a holiday. And John's like, huh, Again, at that point, it's your chance of saying, no, I'm going on my own. He didn't. He sort of briefly thought about it and went, well, yeah, I suppose it could be, because you could help me get there and translate, and why not? That'd be nice. And she said, when do you think you want to go? And this was probably midweek, and he said, sort of, Saturday. And she said, okay. She said, and explained, she started talking about how to get there and all that sort of thing. They settled on the ferry. Anyway, they finished the food and chatted away about rubbish, and then shower. She went first, and then she went and jumped in his bed, and then he went and jumped to bed, and she just cuddled up, and they went to sleep. And next day, woke up, she gave him a cuddle in the morning, then she went off out, got some more food, come back, and by this time she sort of knew what food he liked in the morning and what he didn't like, and she's gone to some bakery and got him some pastries and things. And he got up and she's like, there you go, some breakfast for you. And that was nice, really nice. And she started cleaning. So we go, okay. I'll ring my friend. Rang his friend in Hua Hin and he says, I'm going to come over Saturday on the ferry. And his friend's like, fantastic. And he said, can I bring some more with me? And his friend's like, of course you can. Oh, okay. He sort of, didn't ask. And he said, yeah, no problem at all. And they arranged for, his friend knew the ferry times. It was coming in at about mid-afternoon, about 3:30, 4 o'clock into Hua Hin. His friend said, I'll pick you up at the ferry. And John's like, brilliant. Okay, fantastic. I'll see you Saturday afternoon. And John says to Triple Z, we've got to get these ferry tickets. Do we have to book them now, or can we get them on the day? And this is the time of year when the ferry was running and the weather was good, so no problems. And Triple Z, I don't know, maybe we should, you haven't got internet here, And she's like, hang on. And it goes on her phone and she can't work it out. She says, I think we'll have to go down and ask them. John said, okay, that'll be nice. We can go down there and do that and then get some lunch. And she's like, yeah, brilliant. Oh dear John. Oh dear John. Oh yeah. She does a bit more cleaning, and then lunchtime come, and they're like, okay, let's go. Jumped on John's bike. He rode and she was on the back. And she directed him down. They got all the way down to the pier where the ferry is. And sure enough, you can buy their tickets then in advance or on the day even. But he just bought the tickets. They booked the ferry. And then they went along Walking Street a bit, found some food, restaurant, nice food on the water side. So, I don't know, beer garden or something like that. Had some food. And it was just lovely. And they were getting on really, really well. Back home, and Triple Z said, I need to figure out, we're only going for a couple of days. And he said, yeah. She said, okay, I need to go home and get a bag with a couple of days' clothes and bits and pieces. And I think there was another, it must have been about a Thursday, because they still had another day before they headed off. She said, I'll see you tomorrow. And he's like, okay. And she disappeared. So he'd gone up to the bar. He's got to go up and see his mates, see his other friend, and told the boys everything. I don't know why, but he did. And they're sort of starting to jib him a bit. They're like, okay, what happened? And he told them, and they're like, you're twice her age, and you had aerobics, and now you're like together. Unbelievable. And she's stunning. She's so young. What does she see in you? And they're just having a go at him. And he said they're off to Hua Hin for a few days and going together and all the rest of it. And they're like, oh, this could be serious. And he's like, no, she's just my cleaner. We're just having a bit of fun. Little does John know. So here we are, we've got the guy, Australian, lost his wife, lost his son, pretty much sold everything, business to the lot, has got a lot of money. What did we say, 20 million Aussie dollars, or was it pound? Lots of money in the bank in Australia. He's got a fair bit, he's moved over. He's in rented bungalow. He's got a cleaner. He's got a motorbike scooter. He's 68. So he's in his last quarter of his life, let's say, third of his life. And he's reasonably healthy. Do you know anyone like that? Where would this story go? Well, some of these next few episodes might be... I've decided I'm going to run with this story a bit longer because there's some bits in this story that might help you guys with some decisions. It might bring back some memories. It might make you twig about some of your friends, what's happened to them. So it could get a little bit mundane over a couple of episodes, but we'll continue. There's little things that are quite enjoyable. But remember that age difference. That's a big age difference. He heads home, and next day, Triple Z turns up with a rucksack and a load of clothes. And she comes up, gives him a kiss on the cheek, puts the clothes rucksack in his bedroom and starts cleaning. Then she says to him a bit later, she says, would you like me to pack a bag for you for this trip? And he's like, well, you can help me, if you want. And they do. They put a bag together for him, and just enough for a few days. Another nice evening. She goes out, get some food. She says to him, could I grab a little bit of money off you for the food and stuff that I've been getting? I haven't got much cash left. And he hadn't twigged that she's been buying food and stuff for him. Okay, he paid for the karaoke stuff, but she'd just been going out buying the food and things. And he hadn't given her any money. It made him feel really bad. He's like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. And he'd just give her a couple of $1,000 baht. And he said, yeah, I hope that covers it, hopefully. And he said, look, if you ever need money, if you're buying food or anything for the house or me or anything, just say. And he said, I'll give you some money, no problem. And she's like, okay, good. That's the first time she'd asked for any money, apart from salary, obviously. First time. And it was just for food and stuff. So really nice girl. Really nice girl. She could be a diamond. And so packed all this stuff up, and they were going to go to Hawaii the next day. So they had another evening. This time though, he went to the shower first, and then she just went and joined him. And not aerobics, according to John, he was saying, sort of soy 6 oral extraction, and then a cuddle in bed for the night. So interesting. Next day, midday-ish, they lock the bungalow up, leave the bike locked up at the side of the bungalow, and they get a taxi because they've both got a bag. Instead of on a bike, they get a taxi and down to the pier, and they're off on a happy holiday. Wonderful. Ferry's on time, and they just bought normal seats, so there was quite a few people on there, so it was a bit crowded. Ferry was about 2.5 hours across the Gulf of Thailand to Hawaii. Gets in about 3:30, and they got in, come off the ferry, walked along the sort of jetty and past the gates and stuff, and there's a little car park there. There's a beautiful beach next door, and a bit of a kautaki up the mountain hill to your right as you come off the ferry. Beautiful. And there was his friend, beaming smile, came across, took John's bag and said hi to John, gave him a man hug, said hello to Triple Z, and he couldn't take his eyes off her. He's got a pickup truck. He jumped in that. He only lives 10 minutes up the road, up towards away from the main area, up towards the mountains, but it's only 10 minutes up the road. And I can't remember if he's got, I think it's a bungalow complex. And I got a feeling rents his bungalow as well. But there's a shared swimming pool, and there's bungalows around, or villas maybe you want to call them. And he got there, and John met his missus, his friend's girlfriend, missus, wife, whatever she was. And immediately Triple Z and her got on like a house on fire. Put Thai women together, food, TV, and talk a lot. They immediately clicked, and even though his friend's missus was older than Triple Z, they just clicked. And off they went. And you can imagine the conversation with his friend. But we'll save that till next time. What a conversation that's going to be. The other thing, John hasn't been walking down the Jomtien beach in the mornings, exercise. He hasn't done it for a week. Is that because he was worried about seeing Jum again? Or he's just been too worn out? Not much exercise. Catch you on the next one. Take care. Stay safe. And actually, the next time I record one of these, I would have had my first jab for this dreaded COVID. So let's see how that goes. Ta-ra for now. Bye-bye.